Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Welcome to Islam Podcast, week 6.5. I got my boy Maju here,
Assalamu
Mr.
alaikum,
Zaid.
everyone.
Maju, how's it going, brother?
Alhamdulillah, how are
Salam.
you?
Good, good. Rocking his Rangers jersey. Maju, I don't know. I think either you or I, our internet is a little laggy. Probably me today. I've been having some intermittent issues all day, so I apologize in advance.
Why are you living in the boonies, man? Come back to civilization.
Yeah, probably a good thing. We're at the bottom of the standings, right? So this is what happens when you're at the bottom of the standings. Your internet sucks. You get no love anywhere.
Well, you know what I think is really happening is you're not a Leafs fan, so Bell and Rogers are just set up to be against you, right? You might want to look at a different provider.
Yeah, maybe. But at least I'm wearing a baseball hat, even though it's not really a sport. All right, who do we have here? Where's everybody? 3 people watching. Come on, seriously, where's everyone? Damn
Well,
it!
we have
Do they
7
even know
people
we have a
watching.
podcast today?
Yeah. I think a message went out. I know we have Ahmed Ibrahim as usual. We have Tahir Maroof who's joined in. Abdulaziz
Good.
Khan who doesn't miss a podcast.
I think there might have been some confusion that since there's no games this week
Yep.
because of Family Day, there might not be a podcast. But no, we're here, rain or shine, we are here. There we go. There's Bakshi Hanji. What's going on, Bakshi?
Hamza Abdullahi.
Hamza Abdullahi. Salam alaikum salam, bro. After the thrashing you gave us on Wednesday, congratulations for Sol Hamza. You guys beat us nicely in the playoffs. We're not talking about Islam here for a second. we play Stephen Leacock as well, so his team played well. He was there. So congratulations and best of luck moving forward. Speaking of moving forward, let's get on with the show. So today we're not going to do too much. It's just Manju and I. We are going to focus on just some updates from the last week in terms of who won and what happened. And then we want to focus on some players like we've been doing this whole season, which is every week we have a different theme. And this week, our theme is goalies. We'll take a look at the goalies. We have one of the best ones right here. So it'll be fun to see what he has to say about some of the guys.
Yeah, I thought we'd keep it. There's no bias here, right?
Okay. All right. So the first game of last week was Isan versus Iman, red versus, I guess, purple, if you will. And this game ended up in a 3-1 win for Isan. DAWUD and Hamza, they all got first stars. Asim, who's the new addition to Iman, he also finished as a 3rd star. But hey, what's going on with Iman, man? They're at the bottom of the standings. They're not doing themselves any favors by losing these games.
No, they're really not. And I know that the team is looking to try to move something, or at least either move players or find a different gear to really be more cohesive. To be honest, I thought Iman was going to really give Ehsan a run for their money. I thought, coming off of the very close game with Yaqeen, and then last week they had another very close game where they tied. I thought they were certainly due for a win. And like Hamza Abdullahi is saying in the chat, that Hamza Butt came through big time to get 2nd star for Ehsan. In DAWUD we trust. Ahmed, we get it, bro.
Habibi trusts everything. He trusts DAWUD. He trusts the process. He's all about the trust. We just call him Trust Fund Baby from now
on. But it was interesting to note that Ehsan didn't have a goalie for the first couple of minutes of the game. But they were really well matched for the entire first period. It was a 0-0 game for the first period. So whether they just were finding the matchups, what they were doing. I know Iman is, and a lot of other teams, regardless. Now, I think being 6 weeks in, a lot of teams are looking for that matchup. Okay, you know what? There's that first line that's coming out. We're going to put our first D pair out. So I think there's a lot of line matching that's happening now. And it's happened for, I think, a couple of weeks that I've noticed. But it's of course, it's expected.
Sure.
But you can only keep it up for so long, and I think that's also going to be the theme of our game when we faced each
Hmm.
other. But you can only keep up with a team for so long until those clutch players finally break through, and in this case was Muhib, Dawood, Essen Zaidi made a couple of amazing plays on the defensive end for Isan, stealing goals off of the ball is just right on the goal mouth. He just
Yeah.
swiped them away.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's those critical plays when a team, when a team trusts each other and they find and they really have that chemistry built up. And that's what Dawood has done. He's built that chemistry
Hmm.
over seasons, finding those same players and the similar players to keep getting on his team. And they're just finding that way, that gear, that way to win.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, it's
yeah,
like I call them. It's the friends and family team,
yeah,
right? And then there's, I mean, in one hand, it's a little jokey, but at the same time, it makes perfect sense, right? Like, why wouldn't you put people who already have built-in chemistry? Most teams, they take at least 3 4 weeks into the season to develop that. If you can get
hmm
that off right off the bat, clearly he's doing something right here because they're pretty high on the standings.
yeah, yeah, most definitely. And yeah, Iman just really needs to find that next gear. They have to figure out what they're missing, maybe moving guys around. I don't think, sorry, Mr. Alvi, I don't think you're doing too well on the back end. I think you need to go back up as a forward. But hey, it's
Mhm.
their team. They got to make some critical decisions here.
Sure, sure. We have a shout out to All Star Driving School Woodbridge, Mr. Riz himself. So, assalamu alaikum, bro. Okay, so speaking of big numbers here, oh my goodness, this one was 8-1, Ikhlas versus Rida. And to beat up on a team like Rida with the firepower and the star power that they have, that's impressive. And I watched the first half and it was already like 6-1 or something, I think, right?
Yeah,
And Munawar just took it to another level here.
yeah, he did. His cause was definitely just expedited with the chemistry he has with Butter
Yeah,
or Butar. And they just played amazing. These guys did not stop running. They did not stop
yep.
moving. And unfortunately, I just saw poor coverage in the zone. And not to take anything away from a class and the hustle plays they made, but it was
Hmm.
a lot of defensive zone breakdowns by Rida. They were just leaving Butter with way too much time on the half boards to find Munawar, who was streaking in. Same thing, they left Munawar Hamdani wide open behind the net. They were forcing him to make a play, and guess what? You leave a man with that much skill alone long enough. He found, I think it was Butar right in the slot for a quick tapping.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
The goalie does not have a chance, and I'm gonna say it loud and proud that Yusuf Kapoor did not have a chance on a lot of those shots. He was
Yep.
screened. He just had these tap-ins that you cannot get across on that, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
Rida, sorry guys, I got to call you out. But on the other end, I think Ikhlas just played a phenomenal game. And again, unfortunately, both of us were getting dressed for part of it, so we did miss some of the
Hmm.
goals. But Naeem Shah had a couple of really good shots. That I found
Yep.
out he scored 2 goals. And Badger being Badger, only one goal got even past him. So
Hmm.
I think he got a little bit bored.
Listen, this game was over in the first period, right? Like in the
Yeah,
first five, less than like 6 7 minutes, it was already 4 or 5 goals scored, and the goals
yeah,
were very pretty.
yeah.
And if our good friend Hanan was here, he would have a nice little quip to say, probably with Mr. Butter. But here, in your honor, Hanan, I'll throw this one out. If you leave butter on a hot stove for too long, it's gonna burn you. I know it's
Ain't
pretty bad.
nobody better than butter. Ain't I can't believe
Um,
it's not butter. I don't know. What else do we have?
Butter is pretty slick, man. He really set up Hamdani. Anyways, before we get canceled, let's move on here. But just one last thing here. Um, this is probably along with your team with Abrar and Hamza and Yusuf. This GM trio is probably just as up high up there in terms of both on the score sheet and also their ability. So
Yeah,
two teams, no surprise that when your GMs are performing to what they should be, the team sees success.
most definitely.
All right. So speaking of another GM trio, you had Abrar, you had Hamza, and although Yusuf didn't make it onto the third star here, but he obviously had a critical hand in this win. So Maju, you beat us 6-3. Tell me more about it.
Well, no, why don't you give me an insight? I've been talking for most of the first games right now, so let's hear your
Sure,
insight.
sure. We lost. that's, that's about it. But no, I thought it was a real game, good game. In fact, the score was 2-1 after the first period, and you guys kept scoring, and we kept right back. We kept it within one goal pretty much the whole time, and it was a lot of back and forth. And I think at one point it was 4-3, and we had a power play, and then we took a penalty on our power play, and that just kind of killed the momentum. And then after that, it's hard to contain Abrar and Hamza, and I think Abrar had like 5 points or something crazy.
Yeah. So it's important to note, I guess, and we don't know who the player of the week is, but still we're waiting to find out. But both Hamdani and Desai both had 5 points, 3 goals, and 2 assists, respectively. So it's up there. To be quite honest, this and no offense to you guys. Well, you guys were missing Maz as your GM, and I think a couple of other players as well. So that
missing a
that
full
already,
line,
yeah. So that already throws you guys off in your normal rhythm. But to be quite honest, it shouldn't have been that close from the get-go. Just personally speaking, and I think the biggest, Yakin did great. Yeah, they played well, but their biggest weakness right now is in goaltending, and I have zero issues. Yeah, I have zero issues in calling myself out, and my teammates might say, no, it's okay. But the reality is that even when we win decisive games, I'm still it's not a shutout. I don't care about a shutout. I'm too old to care about a shutout anymore. I just want the W. But even in this game, you guys were missing. You guys were playing trap a few times as well, right? Just trying to retaliate on or counterattack.
we didn't. Let me put it this: we didn't consciously play a trap.
Okay.
I mean, just some of the rushes were such that we had to step back because of we have to respect your speed.
Yeah, for sure. But on those counterattacks, you guys made it work. You guys made it happen, right? Like I think it was Omar Sayed, who had just a pure hustle play, and I thought his shot was really good.
Yeah, it was a diving swipe, and then he just managed to get it far side.
Yeah, and I thought it was going above me, but again, I goofed up. I as great as his shot was, I still goofed up, right? Now, when I was actually getting tested in the second half, I was stepping up to the charge and stepping up to some of the plays and some of the challenges that those your top players were blasting it from the point and stuff. So that has to be consistent for our team. Our team can score. Our first line can score, but the second, third line are working their legs. They're getting their chances, but the goaltending is what it comes down to.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, again, don't be too hard on yourself. I think you still played well. Just like Mobeen says, don't be too hard on yourself, but you do need to wash your jersey because you stink, apparently.
I washed my jersey, okay? So let me tell you, after that loss, it went right in the wash. It's ready to go. Hopefully, I'll have that junk off,
well, listen,
and I'll be able to perform.
That comment is coming from a guy who looks like he's ready for surgery when he shows up at the rink with those things on his feet. That was a good line from Zoo. I'm stealing it right now. But yeah, Zoo's comment was Mobeen looks like he's coming in for surgery here. But that's it. Just to finish off on your performance later in the second half, I had a couple of really good chances on the outside, and you gave me nothing. I either shot it wide or just hit your glove. So yeah, you played well. Khalil, again, I think he's been the bright spot on Subber. He has 5 goals and 5 8.
Yeah,
he's coming through every time. I think we can put to the rest who's the better coker this year.
Most definitely. Well, I think we could say that for a few seasons that Khalil has been better than Sakin. So. But nothing we can't take anything away from your team either. Just we have to realize, and teams have to remember that. Yes, people say, "Oh, this, that about Subber or whatever," but you got to remember they are deadly on the counterattack. They have the first draft pick and a really strong GM trio. They have Adil Chauhan and people who have been placed in the team around Adil. So if you give him time and space, and he's a general from the back, and if you leave Casantini alone or not worry about those some guys here and there, they're gonna burn you. So you see something like you see a 6-3 game, you're like, Summers not to worry about. Don't sleep on them.
Our last part before we leave and go to the next game. I guess one silver lining, maybe this sounds like a loser talk, but you guys had 5 goals the whole season scored against, and at least we managed to get 3 on you. So we'll take that as a consolation prize.
Yeah.
It doesn't help our standings, but whatever. It's a moral victory.
For sure.
Abdullah Patel, of course. He needs to trade Arif Khan. At least he put my last name this time, because then we know which Arif he's talking about.
Oh, not. Yeah, that's right.
All right. So the last game of the night was Taqwa versus Haya, and looks like battle of the goalies.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't see the other goalie here, but I mean, both of them one goal against, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, I don't know if the other goalie was related to the Chaudhrys that are on the team, but it was Daniel Chaudhry who made his first appearance in this season. I don't know if he's played before, but definitely, yeah, he made some big time saves and just looked smooth and just confident in the net. So I think he's played with Taqwa before, or at least some of the players, to know what to expect of them. Now,
sorry, I was going to say Mohammed Yusuf Chaudhry. He scored a goal. It's one of the nicer goals of the year. Like, he just took the wide, went wide around the defenseman and just put in. It was a very, like, the body positioning and movement was very ice hockey-ish. Almost like a Connor Bedard type of goal. So yeah, it was a nice goal to see, and kudos to him for pulling it off.
Yeah, I guess that's the silver lining in Taqwa's game right now, right? That they're able to get some of those chances and really make it look pretty. Where I'm waiting for Taqwa to push it into that next gear. Okay, yes, we keep talking about their D. Let's get away from that. Okay, we know what their D is. They're one-man D, but they have forwards playing D. That's perfectly fine. What I find challenging in that situation is how Taqwa has how they have consistent difficulty breaking into the offensive zone on a power play. Yeah. You have 5 forwards, and you're telling me that they still have to dump it in, or even if they're dumping it in, or they're just not able to transition into the offensive zone well, and that's what I find very challenging. And then when they're there, whether it's on the power play or in the normal 5-on-5 play of the game, they are getting bullied a little bit. At least like MYC and Zaid Claire are getting, people have found out what they're going to do, what their strategy is, and they're getting bullied a little bit. So, everyone's probably looking at and saying, oh, their big guys have to step up, their GMs have to step up, or where's Hamza, where's RC? They're doing their work. They're playing really well.
RC played really well.
Yeah,
RC played really well. We were on the sidelines, Ali Wadi, myself, and Osman, and we're like, hey, he's the gazelle. He's like prancing all over the place. So
he's found his step.
Putting in an effort. Yeah,
absolutely, right? Like, their players are putting in that effort, but it's just they're not able to click, and I just can't understand why. I was really thinking that this is going to be a higher scoring game. We're going to see something happen, but again, confound it. You can't predict Iceland.
Let me ask you, you said that they had a hard time bringing the ball in on the power play. Is that a function of them not being able to, carry it in offensively, or is that more of a Haya, very strong defense, standing the line, standing it properly thing?
So and that's a great question. I would say yes, like Haya does deserve the respect on this, right? Like, I can't just simply say that, Taqwa is beating themselves. But the only thing I'll put as a caveat is I've seen this difficulty on the power play consistently over a few weeks. Okay, so given Haya is a good defensive team, they found their defense again. But to be honest, Khalid Mufti played amazing too. He made some stellar saves. So it's just both teams need to find some sort of rhythm, and I know that they're struggling. Like both, I think both of them, or is it Suber that is that second to last place team? So it's a
Yeah,
close cutoff.
Suber and Iman were the two bottom teams, I believe. But Taqwa is not too far behind. There might actually be. Actually, you know what? Let me just look at it. I mean,
Yeah. So actually, yeah, I have it. So Iman only has 1 point. Suber has
okay.
3 points. But then we have Haya and Taqwa. Haya with 4 and Taqwa with 5. So really, it's one win from any of the bottom 4 teams could really shuffle the standings and the playoff implications.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got Tahir here who played the game, and he's saying that Khalid Mufti stole the game. Our goalie played well, but Taqwa was all over Haya. So yeah, I mean, they were all over, and I think Mufti did steal a game here, which he is known to have done several times in the past.
Yeah.
When he
Yeah.
gets hot, it's hard to get one past him.
Yeah.
Manufat, Iman is going to lose again. Okay, well, I mean, they have lost a lot. That's not making a big prediction. But yeah, maybe that'll fire them up to to win here. And Tahir, we haven't gained the zone well in multiple games on the power play, so Maju is right. Oh, there you go. You're getting some support with your analysis, Maju.
I think he's biased on that one too because we've played a few seasons together.
Yeah, yeah. All right. We're gonna look at today. We're gonna look at goalies. Your favorite topic, right? We're just gonna go over
Yes,
some
sir.
goalies and see how they're doing. This is just a little snapshot. I'm not sure if everyone can see these, but there's only one goalie here with one goalie who has 6 wins, 0 losses. Who is
I
that,
don't
Maju?
know who you speak of.
None other than Mr. Zed Maju here. Bro, what's going on? 6 wins in a row. You guys are on fire. Is that more of a goalie thing or is that more of a team thing?
I'm gonna say it's a team thing, right? Because otherwise Ahmed Mobin's gonna get tough on me anyways. But it's honestly there's a couple of games where I've said it. I'm like, hey, one of those cardboard cutouts from Canadian Tire with the top corners cut out, whatever. I could have just stayed home. You could have just thrown that on, but it definitely is a team game right there, right? Like my defense is helping me to take those rebounds away, pushing guys out, and clearing out those second chances. Which again, everyone knows that yes, I give up a rebound, and a yes, I have difficulty moving, but if I work better with a team that can actually clear out the front and get rid of those rebounds. So that's no surprise to anyone.
Well, listen, a lot of people will say that your team they don't let a lot of shots against you and whatnot. You could be argued both ways, but wins and goals against, a lot of times it's a team thing. But save percentage, that is more geared towards a credit to the goalie directly. And in that respect, Maju, you are number 1, notwithstanding Daniel and Hamza filling in. You have the highest save percentage, beating out Ali Khwaja and Riaz.
That is actually a little surprising to me. So you can see my reaction, but yeah, I appreciate
the. I gotta defend you, man. All right. So speaking of stellar goalies, the first one we're gonna cover is the grizzled veteran, as Umar Baksh put, is Ali Khwaja. He's obviously part of his son, but this is a picture from another year, another season. What can you say, man? This guy is a legend in the legitimate term. I've been playing with and against him for I don't know how long, a couple of decades probably at this point. Dude, he and we've had a lot of battles. We've won championships together, but the last few years it always seems like whenever I get eliminated, it's at his hands or vice versa. So I love this guy, and he's one of the best goalies up there.
I gotta say, this photo doesn't do him too much of justice because otherwise he looks like he's still in his like late 30s, maybe early 40s. So I don't even know how old he is, but I know he has an 18-year-old kid, right? So that I know at least he's in his 40s. I can say that. But no, he amazing goalie. Like again, I haven't been playing goalie for that long, but he's always regularly one of the higher drafted goalies that goes in this league. He plays in Salam Cup Tier 1, or he has played Salam Cup Tier 1. He plays Masters. He's played every, and I'm pretty sure he's probably gone on, national tournaments as well. Just knowing the way he plays and imagining that he probably was even better when he was younger. Not much else you can say about him. His stellar play and his ability to take teams far into the playoffs speaks volumes of him. And in certain scenarios, if it wasn't him in net, his team wouldn't be where they are. So
he also gets in everyone's head, right? Like the opposition is like, okay, I have to make a perfect shot to beat this guy.
Yeah.
Right. So there's that psychological aspect to it too. And another thing that a lot of people don't necessarily point towards, that's a great quality of Ali, is he's also a really good leader. A lot of times you don't see goalies stepping up. They're usually quiet. They're in the corner, right? Very eccentric. But man, mid-game, he'll come up to you and say, hey guys, what are you doing? Or he'll make a good point about something going on, make a tactical adjustment or a motivational comment. So yeah, he wants to win, and he makes sure his team performs accordingly.
Yeah. And that just comes from, I guess, the years of experience and
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, next one is my boy, Mr. Imran Alvi. I didn't see him today. He's usually the first person on the podcast saying hi. I don't know if you're on, Imran, but he's playing for, obviously, my team Sabr this year. And I thought I'd put a picture of him from a couple of years ago when he won a cup, and he was like super happy and proud of it. So we threw that one in here. So hopefully, Imran, if you're watching this, let's get another one this year.
I think he's got to bring that lineup back. That's a really good picture.
the beer, like in perfect form and everything.
But I know it just takes too much work to do, man. So I don't know. Maybe that's the reason he's not sporting it. Yeah. No, he's been playing well this season. And again, regularly gets drafted in the middle of the pack. Again, it's one of those things when you are a bigger goalie. Yes, you cover more of the net, but your side to side movement is limited, right? So that's very similar that we both have. Is we'll definitely take out that first shot, but then that rebound does play tricks on us. However, I saw him. Well, not when we just played you guys, but the week before. Oh man, he was just jumping and diving over the place. And finding his groove again. So one thing with Imran is either he plays amazing, or unfortunately he just gives up really those weird goals. And I think that's with any goalie, but it can be backbreaking.
Yeah,
but
he's had a couple of tough games this season, but then he's also bounced back with some really good ones. So I think what he's really trying to work on a lot is his consistency, trying to get that old Imran back, the one that won a cup like that. So inshallah, he's had to take a couple of weeks off, but when he comes back, he'll be in full form, and we're can't wait to have him back and really start winning again.
No, for sure, and again, it's one of those guys that once he turns it on, no matter what style he plays, butterfly, stand up, whatever, you're not going to beat him.
Yeah. All right, so this is a picture of who I think this is Khalid Mufti, right?
Yeah. We don't know the team, so we can't say it.
We don't know. We just threw in a random goalie here just for fun, just to see what it looks like. But as Tahir said, Khalid stole the last game, and he's been doing that. He's been doing that his whole hockey career. When he gets into the zone, he's unbeatable.
Yeah, one thing in the last few years that I've kind of thought about this, and I've kind of likened him to another really amazing goalie in his late years was Martin Brodeur. And the reason why I say this is, in his late years, Martin Brodeur would take about 20 games to finally find his rhythm. He would get beat on the weirdest shots and this and that. But once he found his rhythm, you're done. It's over. They're going all the way. You're not going to beat him. And sorry, Khalid, but this is what I've seen of him. Is he's still adjusting to the team. The team's adjusting to him in the first few games. And there's those blowouts, or there's those weird games, and he just, some things that shouldn't go in on him, but they do. But once he finds his rhythm, that's it's just another level. You see Khalid. He's like, oh, he goes down in a weird way. He makes a weird kick save. You think you're gonna do that again and pocket like and just throw it over his blocker or something? You're not. He's a very unorthodox
Yep.
goalie, but he makes it work. And good
he
luck
also
trying to
has
get one past the
he
one
also has
people.
a big he also has a big calming presence. He's a very quiet
Yeah,
guy. He's not your rah-rah guy, but he leads with his, quiet intensity, if you will.
yeah,
Speaking of quiet intensity, this is the total opposite. My man, Mr. Mohammed Patel, Badger himself, right? This guy, he's just a hoot to be around. He's a fun guy to hang out with and have fun. He's always laughing and joking around the rink. In the games, he's intense, right? If he's really zoned and focused in. Sometimes he gets if he gets some quick goal scored against, he is known to sort of, let his emotions get the best of him. But the last two seasons, especially last season and this season, with a good team in front of him, he's just a wall.
yeah, most definitely. And like you said, he's an intense player, right? And on and off, and he shows it in his gameplay. He shows it in his persona, and he's just again amazing to be around. Now, one thing about Badger is we cannot dispute his pedigree, right? In the last year,
Yeah.
he's won the Montreal Cup, the Salam Cup, and an Iceland Championship. So he's at the top of his game right now, the best of the breed in our league. And he, again, I think for the last two seasons, he's been drafted first um, in the first two rounds, or the first goalie to be picked. So you know when he's getting picked. The reason he's getting picked is he comes with stats, he comes with the ability to steal games, and just his presence, right? Whether you love him or hate him, guess what? You still got to beat him. You still got to get around him. So, and he's not going to make life easy for you.
Yeah. All right, let's move on quickly. We don't have a lot of time. So this is a goalie. Sorry. So Riaz, right? This is a goalie who played goalie before, then he played forward. Now he's back to goalie. So we picked a picture of him when he was still a baby, Mr. Riaz Hossein.
Yep, and when he was still a baby, he brought those pads over to this season. Sorry, Riaz, I don't know why your pads still look so small, but I know when I saw them the other day, I was like, okay, they're bigger than I thought they were, but they're tiny. But regardless, he played stellar against Yakin, and Yakin just moving that side to side one timers.
Yeah,
I don't even know how the heck he does it, but he has the agility, the speed, the presence, and he's. I don't know if Taqwa is just relying on him more when he's in net or what they're doing, but he's really stealing some of the games, right? So everybody thought he was like, what the heck are you doing drafting him so early? What are you doing? Whatnot? But they made a really good choice. We've seen him, I think, four or five games already. And, with a 243 goals against average and an 850 save percentage, just, relatively speaking, 10 points behind me and tied with Ali Khawaja, he's doing his part. He's keeping the team in there.
His style is very Hashik like, in the sense that he's flopping around, and you're like, okay, how is he saving things, right? He'll be on his back, leg kick and a stick kick and this and that, right? He stops the ball. That's all you can ask for him, right?
Yep, just get something in front of the ball.
Yeah. By the way, Maju, as we finish with the last couple of goalies here, I noticed that when we started speaking about goalies, people in the audience, they started dropping. They're not commenting as much. I don't know. People don't have any love for goalies. What's the deal here?
I don't know, man. I really thought that, hey, this time, we've done some players, we've done all that stuff. We got to give some shout out to the goalies, because these guys are the ones that actually, are the nut jobs that stand in front of, big time slappers and stuff, and they're the ones who are keeping you in it, right? So I thought they would still. People want to show us love, but hey, I guess we're just a cog in the wheel.
You know what? All these goalies that we're showing, you should have a chat with your teammates and say, hey, you can't stick around to listen to us being acknowledged a little bit. All right, fine. We'll let a couple slide. No, you guys wouldn't do that, especially someone like Mr. Yusuf Kapoor here. This is another guy whose play every single year, mashallah, has just increased and improved. And I remember at one point, he was usually one of the last goalies to be picked, but now more and more you see GMs wanting to grab him earlier and earlier because he's just reliable at this point, and
Yeah,
and he has the ability to steal games.
yeah, yeah. I think over the past few seasons, he's really done a great job. And Abdullah's saying it right here too. He's a great teammate. He definitely is. That that calming presence in net. I think some people get really rattled when he does have those off games,
Yeah.
but history has proven even when he has those off games, he comes back and he's a fighter, right? I think
Hmm.
he's done a great job to finally get out of his head. And I had a chat with him, weeks and years ago too. It's like, hey, you got to find a way just to relax yourself, get out of your head.
Weeks and years.
Weeks and years. So goalies talk. Don't worry, man. It's our own language.
They're completely two different. Anyways, I'm kidding.
You're overanalyzing. No, I'm kidding. But we chat here and there. But like, yeah,
Yeah,
it's just
yeah,
a matter of all of the goalies. We talk to each other. We try to build ourselves up because sometimes like I'll get beat up, and like even Ahmed Mobeen being the goalie he is too. He's giving me pointers. He's giving me some
yeah.
tips, and we look out for each other. So
No, for sure.
I know that Yusuf's going to come back hard. He's going to come back, and what he did last season on Isan when he got, well, I believe it was Isan, when he got beat up that 9-1 game or 9-2 game or something. He
Yeah.
came back and they just posted win, tie, win, and
But you know what? The games like even the one last week where they got scored 8-1, right?
yeah.
Those kind of blowouts is usually not the goalie's fault. Maybe a couple of them here and there, but that's a team thing, right? So you
Mhm.
can't blame goalies for that. Yeah, so and you know what? I feel bad. I feel bad that we have one goalie on every team. So when there is a blowout in NHL and other leagues, you switched out the goalie, you yank them, have some mercy on them. Here, you poor guys, man, you guys get shelled and you're in there for the whole punishment. It's kind of sucky.
Well, I'll give you a different take on this. So yeah, it does suck when you're getting lit up. But if you guys remember, I think it was a couple of seasons ago when we had when myself and Khalid Mufti in the playoffs, we combined to give up, I think, 26 goals, and
Hmm.
I was the loser on both those games. I playing for the last few years, and I've realized, hey, if I'm doing bad, yank me, play empty net. If that's what it takes to get the team riled up,
Hmm.
really, I'm fine with it,
That's an
right? But
interesting statement. That's an interesting statement. Yeah.
you have an extra attacker. It is like a power play, but if you can
And
gel like a power play,
teams play sometimes more defensively and more conscientiously when they know that there's no one in front of the net, right? So yeah,
yeah,
that's actually a great point. And one other point before I move on is what you were saying about goalies stick together. This is even true literally because last week I came by and I saw in the corner you, Yusuf, and Mohammed. The three of you were yapping, and I just kind of snuck in. I was like, "What are you guys talking about exactly?" Like, are you sharing playbooks against what different shooters do on you? So it was interesting. So speaking of Mohammed, he's our next goalie here too.
yes, Yusuf Mohammed. Again, fantastic goalie. He's come from gym league, and I did doubt him his first season when he came in. I'm like, oh, maybe we can get a few quick fast ones by him. Not a
Yeah,
chance. He's
yeah.
he's really playing his position well. He won that first season he played. Last season he did pretty well too. Just again, unfortunately, faltered at the most unfortunate time
Hmm.
when his team was just trying to make that final push to the playoffs, and it happens.
Yeah.
Um, he has been known to steal games. When he played against Ikhlas, MUNAVAR Hamdani, one of the captains of the team, he was known after the game to come over and just say, yeah, this guy really kept us off the board.
Yeah.
So he's done his part. I just think youth is. I think him being so young, he keeps getting into his head, right? He did unfortunately give up a really weird goal from the blue line that again Dawoud takes some really good shots. He
Hmm.
takes them just high enough above the pad, but just kind of below
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
blocker. And it's tough to beat sometimes. But I think last few games that Yusuf's been beating up on. It looks like, again, I could be mistaken, but it looks like he's just kind of taking it too hard, and he's fighting it. He just needs to find that rhythm where he's flowing in his games. He's not trying to fight the ball, not to fight his movement, and he'll be back to his presence. And yeah.
As Habibi says, just relax and trust the process.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of trusting the process, to end this process, Maju,
the goalie cutout. Yes.
Look at you. We actually have a proper picture of you. And this is kind of what I see when I come down the wing, all that empty space everywhere. And then as I'm ready to release, it all disappears. All I see is big old Maju standing in front of me.
Yeah, you got to try to have that quick release. So I'm trying to get back to the basics again. Like I have some issues with that too, right? So just try to square up, get back to the basics. But then when a player starts looking up or tries to get in, it's you're in your stance, glove, everything's up, and just challenge them. All right. I don't want to talk too much about myself, so I'm gonna open the floor to you. But
that's why I'm being quiet. I was like, yeah, of course. Talk about yourself. No, I mean we've chatted before earlier today and at other times. I think in the small amount of time that I've had the privilege of knowing you, I think your best performance was a year and a half ago when we won with Subber with the Tea Park guys, and you shut down 3 of the top players against Ikhlas in the finals in the shootout to win the championship. So you shut down Yusuf Ahmed, Sajid Ayubi, and Hamza Chaudhry, right? I mean, that's no small feat at all. So you shut that down, you won the cup, and then went on this crazy rant when you were picking up your.
Oh no, not
that! We
have
a video of that somewhere. You're basically holding up the cup, and I don't know who you were talking to. You're like, I want to tell everyone who didn't believe in me, I can do it. I don't know what you were saying, bro, but I loved it.
Oh man, it's just the years of playing. Before I played goalie, I was D and this and that. So or to be honest, even the first season I played in Iceland, I got lit up. And Ahmed Ibrahim will remind me of this too. It's like we were 0-10, I think, that season. And in the playoffs, the team just figured out, okay, we need to bring it back, like defense first. And of course, Luke came back from injury. And we just went on a crazy run and won the championship. So to be honest, people said, oh, I played a great game. I was still that same goalie that allowed whatever goals and we kept losing, right? So it's a team effort. But this time I actually felt like I made a difference to the team and I had a presence on it. So winning championships on other teams and even as a D-man, getting minimal minutes here and there, now making a difference and getting stopping 3 amazing shooters and just challenging them enough. So that's what that addiction.
And it wasn't a fluke, because the year after, again in the playoffs, you did the same thing. So 6 shooters in the finals or something, you stopped them all. So I think credit should be given where credit is due. And one of them is, I think you are one of the better breakaway stopping goalies, at least when it comes to playoffs. So I don't know if you're getting in other people's heads or it's just pure skill, but you're getting the job done. So kudos to you.
Jazakallah. I appreciate that. Yeah, people might be overthinking it, right? Like I know my challenges are lateral movement. So, but I do try to just throw anything I can in front of it.
Don't give up your weaknesses. Like, seriously, what are you doing? The season isn't over, man. All right. Speaking of season being over, we're halfway through the season. I know we weren't supposed to really do a podcast, so I appreciate, Maju, that you joined to make sure we're consistent on our Thursday, and also to the few people who joined live. Thank you. It's always great to have you guys on. Next week, inshallah, we're going to this week we don't have any games, but next week we do have games, and we're going to have another podcast. And that one is going to be more about a recap to see how the mid-year has turned out so far. Right, so that'll be fun. Hopefully, we'll have some more guests. We'll have more panelists, and we'll have a good time.
Everyone's getting a report card, so start getting nervous.
Yeah, take it to your parents, your spouses, whoever it is, and get it signed. Make sure you tell them all about it. All right, boys. Well, boys who are on the audience, and Mr. Maju, thank you once again for joining. And inshallah, we will see you guys in, I guess, a week from now.
Yep, inshallah. Jazakallah for having us, or me.
All right. Assalamu alaikum, guys. Take care.
Welcome.